Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. For 4 seasons now, Fear the Walking Dead has been slowly crawling us toward the characters and stories of the original series. Last season, we saw the death of Kim Dickens' Madison, and after last night's premiere, we're seeing the gang stranded in a new place with new injuries and some new villains. Let's take a look.
Don't know if any of you are listening, but if you are, hang in there. We're coming for you. You don't have to be afraid.
That's what people always say when there's something to be afraid of.
I'm aware I have a distinctive timbre. Hearing it now, seeing my face, removing all doubt, you may be inclined to instantly pull the trigger, perhaps involuntarily.
You still talk too much, Victor.
You missed a real shit pie a la mode today, Jimbo.
Morgan.
Dwight?
Everybody, please put your hands together from Fear the Walking Dead, Austin Emilio, Danae Garcia, Jenna Elfman, Coleman Domingo, and Alicia Debnam-Carey. Let's hear it. Hi. Congratulations, 5 seasons.
I know,
That's
right?
amazing.
We made it.
Thank you.
And I would say, coming back into this season, your character is a bit of a psychopath at this point. It's finally,
That's one way to put it, sure.
it's finally gotten to her. She seems to have broken a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been so exciting, seeing that whole journey. Like, it's been really rewarding. Maybe one of the most rewarding parts of playing this character has been seeing this journey from, like, a teenager with, like, you know, dreams and hopes, and then for it just to descend into complete darkness. And I think for her, it's this idea of, well, this is the only way I can protect anyone, because everything I did before failed, and I've lost my family, I've lost, you know, I'm the only one left. So for her, I think that's the motivation of just like, I'm gonna protect by being completely vicious and crazy.
Yeah, whereas everybody else seems to be killing the walkers because they are in the way or something. Your character has a certain amount of catharsis.
Yes, I was gonna say.
With each head pummel.
Yeah, a little cathartic kill one after a time. Yeah, but I think what also is nice, it opens up a place where it's like, can she get better? And then is there hope again? Is there something to look forward to? So yeah, it's nice for her to really, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, I must say though.
Well, we know where it's going. We know it gets worse.
Yeah.
Jenna, you joined the show last season, correct? Right? What was it like jumping into a show that was already sort of going and was also a prequel to another long-standing beloved show?
Yeah, well, I went through a really fun learning curve that was very, you know, I watched every episode of both shows, all seasons, because I just wanted to really understand the universe that I was joining and understand, you know, from every point of view, from the mythology of it to the fan point of view of it, what had been, where things were going. So, yeah, I really wanted to dig in a little more on the human condition as a woman, you know? I'm not a girl anymore, I'm a woman, and I'm digging it. I like being a woman, and I wanted to explore the human condition from that point of view of having lived.
Do you mean that in reference to your character or to characters you've previously played to the character?
I just mean in terms of my journey as an artist, I think, you know, obviously you want to keep growing and you want to challenge yourself and do new things. And so I was sort of looking at what I wanted to do next, and I was like, I want to explore, you know, from an evolved female point of view. I'm 47. And I wanted to, like, dig in as a woman.
Right.
And tell some stories from that point of view and stay in the moments and explore the emotionality of that. And I love comedy, but, and I'll continue to do comedy, but I really just wanted to explore this for myself and challenge myself.
Do you ever have trouble not bringing the comedy out of certain scenes when you're shooting with zombies and people made up and getting shot and stabbed?
No, I don't think it's like... You know, no. I don't think it's, you know, I mean...
They keep it pretty dark.
Yeah.
Well, we find you hanging upside down, really, at the beginning of last night's episode. What was it like shooting that? And
well, that was... it's a real plane.
Wow.
So it was a very dinky cockpit. It sounded really weird. But we were... I had to hold Maggie like up with my shoulder like between takes because we really were hanging, and we had a walker down below, then we had the stunt coordinators climbing in, and then we'd have the grips climbing in to adjust it was very intimate, and yes, we all had to kind of pitch in and help each other out there. It was a tight squeeze, which was really humorous. Fun.
Danae, you're impaled as well in the beginning of last night's episode. Talk about your character's journey to this point and what we can expect from her this season.
Well, it's funny. This is not the first time something terrible happens to Luciana. It became kind of like a joke a little bit. They're laughing because they laughed, make fun of me. But
again.
I mean, it was really bad.
What other injuries have you had all together?
Oh, well, towards the end of season 2, I got shot in my other shoulder. Thank goodness this one was the other shoulder.
You think they made sure of that? They're like, well, it's got to be this shoulder.
Like, every time we open a script, they're like, okay, wait. Denai's just going to be ahead at some point.
Well, me and Ruben, we laugh because he's been shot through the mouth, you know, he's just been burned, and I've been shot. We keep counting our battles, you know, the scars. But, you know, that's what really kind of puts you in perspective. Like, after hiatus, here we're back, and I'm on a table, everybody's on top of me, and I'm screaming, and I'm like, this must be season 5. I mean, for me, it was so intense, and it keeps surprising me how the capacity, you know, how we're so capable of going to such a dark place constantly, and every year that I just embraced it. Yeah,
there's heads hanging from trees, and
it's bad.
Zombies tied up via their entrails all over the place as well. Talk to us about the children that we met in last night's episode, and Matt Brewer's character as well, who is Matt Brewer, right? Isn't that the actor's name? Excuse me.
Yes.
Brewer.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Isn't it Frewer?
Frewer, excuse me. Oh, sorry. No cards. Matt Frewer's character and the sort of challenge that he poses to the group, and this idea of whether helping anybody is actually worth it.
Well, I think that's the major challenge right now. I think now we're in this very altruistic place where we're really trying to help. That we've come together, we've all had we have our battle scars, and we're like, okay, this is what the journey is now. And there's some children out there, and they're doing some of the darndest things that we'll find out. And also, there's going to be complete challenges that are going to challenge the group. But we're so committed, like you're going to find that we're really bound together with that commitment. And then, you know, the way the universe works, you know, it's like, it's going to really challenge it. Like, does the group fall apart, or do we go closer together?
Austin, I'm not sure. I don't want to spoil anything when it comes to your character and where we find you and where you are in this season. So I'm just going to let you take it. Yeah, just go. Like, what, you know, talk about coming back and being on Fear the Walking Dead.
Well, the transferring to Fear was it's great. I've kind of got the best of both worlds, you know. I've been on The Walking Dead and Fear, and I get to work with all of these wonderful people. And the character itself, Dwight, is always in a very dark place, especially when he joins this world. And I think it's going to take a lot of faith in him to sort of have faith that, you know, when you come across people in this world, it's pretty difficult to trust them. So that's sort of
that's been the main conflict of both shows. Is who is the villain? Are these new people that you meet where you're traveling? Are they gonna try to hurt you or steal from you, or will they be part of the core group?
Yeah. So it's building trust.
Yeah. You know, last season, Kim Dickens was killed, as far as we know. Can you talk about saying goodbye to her and saying goodbye to the character?
I mean, it was really hard. And I think we also had to acknowledge that, you know, she's not dead in our lives. So we were kind of...
Yeah, we still have dinner with her all the time.
Have dinner with her, and we still, like, hang out and, like, you know, catch up with everyone. We really built a family in those first few years because we moved around quite a lot. We were in LA and then we were filming in Vancouver and then we went to Mexico. You know, we really had a journey, kind of like a traveling circus for a while. So it was a really bonding experience. We just like were lucky to find such a great family within one another. But for us, I think what we always then try to do going forward is like pay homage to her and her character, and also to Nick, and to make sure that their ethos is still being carried throughout our characters and what they wanted. So I mean, yeah, but it was really hard. I remember like when I was filming some of those scenes, it did feel very raw and real because I did feel like we were not just losing the characters, but also losing those people that you spend 16 hours a day with, you know, for 7 months. And that's hard. But, you know, we know the show is continually always changing, and that's kind of what you sign up for on a show like this where anything goes.
Does that make you guys afraid that you could be killed at any point as well?
I think you're not afraid. You just know that that's the nature of the show.
Yeah.
And also, you know, I think we all do many other things as well. So we're like, okay, this will be a great ride for as long as the ride is on, you know?
And you also know that if you are killed, it'll be such a great dramatic moment and really be...
Let me say something.
were talking about
I
this
don't want a
after,
big
like,
dramatic moment. You know
no.
why? If something happens to my character and I die, I'm like, I want it to be like a bee sting and I'm out. Because usually, you know why? Because let me say these final, when they go, oh, we're going to give you an epic death. That means you're in water and you're in dirt and you're shooting and you're doing all these stunts. You're like, I'm not for all of that.
You want like a random heart attack.
I want a random
like,
piano to fall down on my head, right? Did we say that? Right?
I was like, that's how I'd go. Just like a piano falls from the sky.
Jenna, you're working a lot with one of my favorite TV actors and actors for a long time, Garrett Dillahunt. Thankfully, they honored him very well with a cameo in Deadwood this past weekend. What is it like working with him?
You know, it's really lucky that he and I, before that episode last season, which was, you know, established that love story, he and I hadn't even met. And we just showed up on set, and we just fell into step together. And I think every now and then you luck out, you know, with an acting partner where it just goes, he and I really enjoy working together. We love creating these characters together and their relationship. And
it's two very funny people playing serious a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
Imagine the two of you have a pretty good time.
No, he makes me laugh constantly. He's like this unexpected. He has a dry humor where you don't even see things coming. It just comes out of his mouth with this like deadpan, and you're like doubled in half laughing hysterically. I love it. He's a joy. I love everything about him. He's a gentleman. He's a very kind actor. He's a kind scene partner, and gentle, and those lovely characteristics about John Dory that we all love, I love in Garrett. And yeah, we enjoy creating this together. It's fun. It's just easy. It just falls right into step, and it's pleasurable. And I'm very grateful for that.
I'm curious, is your character's madness gonna sort of, madness or vigilantism or just sort of catharsis at killing zombies gonna come back to bite her in some way this season?
Maybe in like a philosophical sense.
Well, it's a great setup for it. Everyone is terrified of her, which is really fun to watch.
I mean, I think a lot of this season explores the physical restrictions and physical like dangers around them, the environment, but also then the physical problems within, like psychologically, and then how they can deal with getting up and having resilience to keep going. So
to keep caring about other people, that is really getting tested this season as well.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something that we really talked about, and I really had to talk about with the writers, because at one point I was like, you know, when I first read that episode, and it keeps going for a little bit, where I was like, I am just this killing machine. Like, I just keep going. And also physically, that is really demanding and it's really exhausting. But it's fun, but it's like a lot all the time. And I was like, I'm just going and going. And it really beats you down. You feel it. And I was like, it's making me, you know, there's this whole just philosophical question of like, what doesn't matter? What is this for? Who cares? Why are we caring? What's the purpose for any of this? And suddenly you're asking all these like higher purpose questions. And I think that's what we were really wanting to like draw from and find, so that we have someone like Lenny or Morgan, who is then the complete opposite of trying to show her that there is reason, there is purpose, and to try and bring out that joy that used to be there. So yeah, it was hard. It was also like it's ambiguous too, because it's not clear answers of like why you should do anything, or like if there is matter or purpose or meaning. So yeah, it was like a lot of, I don't know, intellectual mental dancing, I think.
Coleman, you have directed 2 episodes now. Was the first one that you directed, did that start last season, or were both of them?
That started last season, episode 12 last season.
How did that start, and what was it like jumping behind the camera?
Well, it started with actually from Gail Ann Hurd. She saw a production I directed at the Geffen Playhouse in L.A., and she turns to me. I took her one night, and she said, you should direct for our show. And I thought, oh, let's think about that. And so that thus began sort of my year of sort of like just watching. But I'm always just watching. I'm always in Video Village and asking questions and seeing what's going on with lighting, you name it. So I've been treating it all as my conservatory. And so then the new showrunners, they asked me to direct an episode, and I did, and I was happy that it was the one featuring Jenna and Maggie, and really sort of their journeys together and to find a new bond. And that was I felt like it was a nice character-driven episode. And then they gave me a big blockbuster this season. I won't tell you which one. Well, it's episode 3. But it's really cool, and a lot of cool things happen. And I think it's going to be a nice, a nice little gem in the middle of our season.
A lot of people's favorites at the moment.
Really?
It's a fun one. Because it's fun. I feel like it's like there's stunts, special effects, there's tricks, there's emotion. The characters are sized up. And really sort of their iconic selves. It's really lovely.
What was it like going into directing a lot of those kinds of moments? Because you're obviously doing theater. You're used to working with actors and talk to them about the arc of their characters. But then when it comes to sort of directing an action sequence and special effects,
boy, you really got to lay that stuff out. You got to really work with your team and really work out the stunts. And we have masters in everything that they do on our sets, and so you really lean on that. Like as a director, I've always known this. It's like I don't have to know everything, but I need to know as much as I possibly can, because there are specialists for every single thing where you're like, I wonder if we can, you're the one with the ideas, like, I wonder if we can do that thing. And they're like, oh, actually we can, and we can do it. How many ways would you like to do it? And you're like, wow, that's cool. And you have to organize this stuff. And then, especially when I'm working with my actors, it's like, I trust my actors. I have such pros around me where I'm like, for my money, it's always better to say, hey, you're my teammate, and I want you to help me figure this out. I don't come with every single, that's just not the way I work. I'm just like, what do you think? How should you move? Let's stage this together. Let's figure this out. And then we'll work it out with camera work, et cetera, et cetera. But
he's very fun to work with as a director.
Thank you.
Does he ask, what do you think? What do you think we should do?
No, that's not why. I think because he understands actors, and he's gracious and generous and patient and kind, and knows how to make you feel safe so that you can explore. And I loved working with you last season on that episode. I think it was a really great episode, and I think it really established those 2 women, and he loves women, and I think it really formed a nice story there between those 2 characters with June and Althea, and then the one this season's really fun. It's awesome.
We have a question coming in from Twitter. It's if you could bring back one character, who would it be?
Oh, not just
Only
one.
one?
Come on.
Whoever, it could be more than one. Go ahead.
Tobias.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great answer. That's such a great answer. I
would like to see suddenly he should show up.
He should come back, suddenly
and
show up
just
in
be like,
Austin.
I told you so.
Yeah.
Where's Madison?
And then we'll be like, okay, what's the plan next? Come on, you've got all the
Since
answers.
you knew that,
Let's
what's
go.
next? Exactly.
Where's the bunker with all the food?
Does anyone else want to field that as well? I saw you move the microphone.
I will bring
Sorry.
Nick
what?
back.
Nick.
Oh yeah, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I need to fight with him. I need to do something.
Fight with him after his
I
death?
didn't. Well, he would be back. I mean, he would be.
Died.
Oh, I thought back to life, right? Back to life. Back to life.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Exactly.
Austin, is there anyone from Dead that you would want to bring into Fear the Walking Dead sooner?
Negan.
Okay, there it is.
I want Negan out. Be fun to
Dwight's
have.
had enough Negan.
Yeah, I'm over
he's
Negan.
got a big
I love
dose of
Jeffrey
Negan.
Dean, but I'm Negan. He's not a nice guy. Maybe Daryl.
Daryl.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Mix it up a little bit.
Right on. We have some questions from the audience. What do we got? Who is right here? Hi.
Hi, thank you. The question that I have for anyone that wants to answer is, if there's a crossover from Fear the Walking Dead to The Walking Dead, which community would you like to live in? Hilltop or Alexandria, or neither? Build your own.
I feel like that's a good question.
Build your own.
You know this.
Well, there is no more kingdom, but that'd be hard to go to. I mean, right? There's no more kingdom now. I feel like the Hilltop is a little lonely in its leadership at the moment. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there. I feel like the Hilltop could use some love. I'd say Hilltop. But, you know, there's roots in Alexandria, and I think that they would do well when they're working together. So I'd say some Hilltop love.
I think we'll build our own thing, knowing our people. I don't know. Just because that's the nature of, like, until we know who they are, I think we'll build we got everything. We got a doctor. We got, we got a killer. We got somebody looking for love. We got, the charming one. We got a little girl growing up. I think we're
not the comment, the charming one.
The
Me.
charming one.
You get the charming one. I'm the killer. Fine.
You're the killer.
So I think we're good.
Next question. Thank you. Right here.
Hi. Hey. My name is Isis.
I know you, Isaac.
What would be on your character's Netflix queue if there was Netflix in the apocalypse?
Mine would be something just like probably what it is now, which is just like The Office and Friends. Like, I need something that's like, after all, it's like such a hard day of killing. I just need something light in my life.
The Office is just great background noise. You
Yeah.
can tune in and laugh, or you can just kind of
Yeah,
sit
right?
and zone out.
I need
like some,
something
like,
like chill.
Lighthearted
And like
rom-com, like
exactly.
Harry Met Sally. or something.
Exactly. That's not lighthearted rom-com. That's like pull your heart out. Like,
Is it
oh my
pull your
God,
heart out?
love.
It's-
No, I need something like, oh, thank God Pam and Jim ended up together. Such a relief.
Anyone else want to feel that? Okay.
I'd probably it'd have to be a story where two lovers actually meet.
The Notebook.
Yeah, The Notebook.
That would
I
be
think Dwight
cute.
would want to watch The
I
Notebook.
think we watched The Notebook together.
Next question. Oh, right.
Hello.
Hi.
If you could switch places with any character in your show, who would you play?
Salazar. Yeah, I just love Daniel Salazar in every incarnation, especially the one who's more of a warrior who was like, "Oh, help me, cool." I play that version of him.
That's a good one.
I think Dory. I just he's so good at playing with those guns. I'd like to get a little feel for that. I always see him like practicing. He's got the little. I'm like, wow, that's cool, man.
I'd probably choose you, but when you had the yacht.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, I like the old Strand.
I want old Strand, like
Yeah.
suit Strand, yacht Strand, whiskey
Drinking
Strand. I would be you.
I agree. I'll be Strand, 100%.
Next question.
Hey, I'm John. Big fan of the Walking Dead universe. One thing I really enjoy about Fear is the danger with these past few seasons. There's no source material, so you can't look at the comics to know what's coming up. But is there a stunt sequence or fight sequence that you really enjoyed filming?
Fight sequence. Well,
We've been doing this for
I
so
think we have some
many
stuff
years.
coming up.
Yes,
I'm really
gonna say,
excited
yeah.
about, which I wish I could answer the question and be like, so what we're gonna do is, and I can't, but there's some really fun stunts coming up this year. I arrived on set one day when we were gonna do a big stunt thing, and I was like, I was so overwhelmed by what we had to accomplish stunt-wise. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I love stunts, and and our stunt coordinators are such geniuses. All of a sudden, because they have all the choreography worked out, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, you're doing the stunt, and you're doing it well, and you're like, when did I learn this? How did I learn this so fast? They're that good. So we're able to do big things ourselves, and then they can really film it because we're really doing it. And so there's stuff, we had to be on some harnesses this year, and and it's edgy. Like we do get bruised, and I don't know, I think that keeps it really exciting. yeah, dropping down in the plane. I jumped off the roof. That was sort of fun. You know, that's. Yeah.
I definitely have one coming up. I mean, I have a few coming up, but there was one episode that they were like, yeah, it was the same thing. They were like, okay, we need you to learn this like now. And I was like, this is really long and hard though. But I did, and like they're
Yeah, all
so
of a sudden
great.
you're
They
doing
just
it,
kind
and
of
you
like
didn't even realize it was
suddenly,
hard.
Like, yeah, you do it, but it's gnarly. It's like if you think she looks manic now, just you wait.
All right, thank you.
One more, right here.
Hi guys, how you guys doing? I'm Jill. So I'm a huge fan of both Coleman and Alicia, and y'all dynamic is always so entertaining. Like I'm waiting for a buddy cop film with you guys. at
We
this
should
point.
totally do one.
So my question is, are there going to be more episodes with Victor and Alicia together?
I can say yes.
Yeah, we can say that.
I can
Yeah.
say yes. There's
It's finally.
Yeah, finally. Well, it's funny because we do have such a closeness because we've been together for so long, but also we just really enjoy each other. I feel like even the pairings. I love how we keep reconfiguring the pairings in the show, because and also in finding that new dynamic. I think it's always exciting to be paired with somebody else, but also it's nice to be paired with this is my buddy.
Yeah, it is. But that has been really nice this season. We've had like a lot of unexpected pairings, or like pairings that like they just knew would work really, really well. I think.
And I don't find they're not arbitrary. They may seem arbitrary, like how did these two get into this situation where it may seem arbitrary, but what I find that's really textured and cool is these unexpected pairings, whoever they are together end up influencing each other. And that launches each character into the next chapter of change and evolution. And I think that's been really interestingly done this season.
Yeah, and the pairings, well, I never thought they felt arbitrary, but if they seem that way, it's like the first act, and they always kind of blossom into a story that spreads out across the whole.
I mean, it's not arbitrary. It may seem when they first land in the space together, and then you see why they have found each other in that moment, and then. Yeah, exactly.
Do you find that the writers, when they sort of pair you off and find all these different pairings, are tapping into your strong suits or something that they saw you doing in the last season or the person that you're with doing, and that a lot of that comes from
I think a lot of times they do that. There were at times actually they were. I don't know if they're tapped in. Sometimes writers are tapped into something about a person's personal personality. I remember because Mercedes used to have a thing about hotels. She. And then they actually wrote. I was like, did they hear that? Remember, she was like, oh, because she like hates like she has such a particular way about hotels and cleanliness, and they wrote that into an episode. I'm like, I don't know if they're listening or they know. There's something about a character like, but it makes you even closer to the character in some way. I think in some way we have, of course, as actors, there's something that is inherently. I know that there's some, Coleman and Strand and Coleman, and I think that they do write towards your strengths as well, and also challenge you as well.
Can you recall a moment where you felt like, oh, they're writing for me? They know that I'm going to say this, and that they're excited to hear me say this.
I think so. I think they love to give Strand a lot of interesting language, and they know that I love to chew on it, and I really I mean, that's a bit of my, I think, theater skills as well. So it brings a little theatricality to it, and all the characters have a little size to them in some way, and so I think I do think they lean on that.
I remember last year, Coleman and we started working together towards the beginning, and I remember I'm dressed as Luciana. Here comes Strand, and I looked at him like, this is the first time we worked together. This is the first time we met, because even though we were together in season 2 and 3, we actually never crossed paths. So all of a sudden we're like killing together. We're like like Mr. and Mrs. Smith looking for like, it's like.
So at a certain point, they're like, who have we not put together that we can put together?
It's really incredible.
And then is so
remember
nice
that?
You have to build a whole backstory for that too. You're like, okay, well, this is what they've given us. How do we get this way?
How do we just cover each other without talking?
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Well, guys, congratulations on the new season of the show. It's amazing. It's wonderful to watch all of you murder zombies all the time.
Thank you.
It's on Sunday nights on AMC. Everybody give a huge round of applause for the cast of Fear the Walking Dead on stage with us. Thank you.